This is True Buds, that Mary Jane, now we ain't new to this. For my stoners and for my cannabis enthusiasts, never heard a show as good as this. Yeah, number one, it's the best. Bringing in many special guests in the industry of cannabis. Business owners to growers, even artists you know of. So sit back and just roll up the perfect show for my smokers. True Buds.
What's up? Welcome back to the True Buds Show. Here today with my sister Emily. What's good?
What's good, man? I'm happy to be here.
Hey, thanks for coming on in.
Yeah.
Before we get diving into, the podcast today, I just want to send a shout out to T-Check, my friends over there. This device, in-home device, test your coconut oils, your butters, your tinctures. They even gave me a flower expansion kit. So a lot more content coming for T-Check. Shout out T-Check. But yeah, we got Emily here today. Emily has traveled a lot more than I have, like I mentioned in the last podcast, all over the world. And she has a lot of world experience, knowledgeable girl. And we just shot her first YouTube video. How did that feel, Emily?
Yeah, first vid, I'm feeling pretty hypey right now, if I will say so. Feels good, spreading the word from what I feel like I've learned, traveling around and all those experiences. So I'm feeling pretty solid right now.
Positive Mind
Yes,
Emily.
Positive Mind
On Instagram.
Emily.
YouTube's going to be popping. So I'll put the link below so you can check out this first video. 5 tips to calm the mind and kind of live in the moment, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just a simple 5, get your day started throughout the day. Those 5 solid first tips.
And what's funny about that is I just said that, like, living in the moment is like when I was shooting it, I'm just focused on like making sure everything's right on the camera. So a lot of times I don't pick up on like what you're saying sometimes until we like watch it again. Mm-hmm. But that's like another example of just like focusing in. I just want to make sure everything's right on the video. And then hits me later when I'm editing. Like I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, but that's kind of it in itself. You're there right then, focused in on that moment, which is pretty cool in itself.
Hell yeah,
So,
hell yeah. Yeah, I've just been getting this little studio set up here, like running around. I'm actually like got a little sweat brow going because we just had to get this pod going.
Yeah, you gotta, you don't stop for anything. You know what I'm
For
saying?
real, hustling out here. Times are crazy,
Yeah, they are.
I'm sure people are sick of this pandemic talk, so we'll keep it to a minimum. But just shows you we just got to keep trucking here.
Yeah, trying to grind it out, no matter where you are.
And to that point, let's talk like some of the places you've gone. You went to Africa first, right? Was that kind of the first international trip you did?
It was. I went to Mexico, but we don't remember a lot of that one. No, I'm just kidding.
Sounds like my trip.
But no, the first solo trip was to Africa. Yeah, so.
And you went there and kind of fill everybody in on what you did down there.
So I decided I was 20. I was coming up on 21, and I decided to head to Ghana, Africa, and live in an orphanage out there in rural Africa. And that was an amazing, crazy experience just to immerse yourself in that new culture.
And I'll cut in actually a picture on the video here. I know a lot of people listen to the audio, but I saw a picture of you in Africa, and you had like 3 little kids with you. Or you were like maybe laying on the ground or they were holding you or something, and you look so happy, and these kids, you guys look ecstatic. Yeah. And then when I saw that picture, like I literally stared at it for a minute. I was like, this is freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's like dog pile. You lay down and you're like, give me the love. And it was just all about spreading the love, feeling the love. And one of the biggest things to touch on that I took away from that entire experience, even though I could go on forever, but one of the biggest things was you don't need to have all of the things to find the happy. And that was something huge for me, seeing all the people that had close to nothing still giving and smiling and laughing. Coming back, that was huge, being over here in the US and seeing how you could have everything and you're still searching for the happy. So seeing the reverse end of that was pretty cool.
For real. And like, how was, you told me a little bit about it, like, but how was your lifestyle there? You were telling me like all like water came out of bags or something, and that, like what was food like too? Like,
so we were lucky to have the water in the bags. It was just warm water in bags. It was like the supposed sanitary, which I was okay with. That never affected me. So that's what I was drinking. All the kids in the orphanage were drinking out of the well that was created from a family over here in the U.S. but villages for miles, the women would come with the buckets on their heads and pick up that water, which we couldn't drink or else we would get sick. But that's what the locals drank.
They just had like an immunity built up over time, I assume.
Basically, yeah. So it's obviously not the cleanest of water, but they're lucky to have that source of water at least. But yeah, so they're immune to that. And then food-wise, we had a lot of rice, a lot of eggs, which so it's filling, it's good for you. And then they had a lot of doughy like food that they like. I can't think of the name right now, but it was like a specific dough that you'd pull apart and eat, and that was like their favorite and pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, what was the? Was there any weed down there? Did you see anything? Hear anything?
Oh yeah. Well, first
yeah.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, when I first thought, I'm gonna go do this, I was like, all right, I'm not gonna be near any of that probably. That's all right for now. Whatever. I'll go with the flow. But yeah, I definitely ran into some what they labeled themselves as Rastafaris, and we hung out, on the beach and smoked up some of their fatty J's and felt real good hearing some Bob Marley cover in the background.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it's really chill, huh?
Yeah, it was.
Do you know what the laws are like at all there? Like, it seems like it probably was just pretty open. They have a lot more to think about, like survival.
Yeah, it definitely had to be like, well, I tried to be low-key, I'm in a completely new country.
Yeah,
like,
of course, yeah.
But at the same time, like one weekend I took a rusty van 13 hours to this like resort where you'd stay in these huts that had sand floors. And at the bar, you'd go up and you'd have like a code word and they give you a fatty J for like 5 cents.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you remember what your code word was?
I can't, man. I've been trying to remember it. I'm like, it's only 2 blazed or something. But no, I tried to remember the word, but I forget. I can't remember what it was. But he's like, oh, yeah, I got you. And I was expecting like, like 5 cents, but it's all relative. When you're over there, it's still whatever amount. But he pulls out just that fatty J and you're like, what's up, man?
So overall, it sounds like good vibes all around. Like
it was. Every experience over there was all good vibes. And I felt so safe the whole time. I took precautionary measure. Don't get me wrong. I didn't go in without. I always kept like something to keep me safe, self-defense on me, and all that. But
yeah, I was a little worried about you when you first were gonna go. I'm not gonna lie.
It wasn't like I went in blind. I'm very aware of my surroundings and all that because you can't just go in and just give every single person the benefit of the doubt when you're traveling alone. So I definitely was always aware of my surroundings. Kept, like I said, precautionary measure on me, but I never ran into one tough situation.
Yeah, like yeah, definitely. At first I was like, dang, I was like, dang, and then when I started seeing your pictures and talking to you, I was like, awesome. I was really happy you did it. Like that's really cool.
But I will say, like, now I look back and I'm like, damn, I just went an hour into the jungle by myself to like hit up a waterfall, and I'm like,
not many people can say that.
Yeah, in the middle of it, yeah, but
I can't.
Yeah, but it was sick.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's what's up.
Yeah.
And then the next excursion was Spain, or was there somewhere in between?
Yeah, I was out living in
you live in Denver. Yeah, let's talk about that for a little bit.
Colorado,
the Colorado scene. When you were out there, it was all legal, right? It was recreational at that point?
So it was my first time living in the legal scene.
It's a different vibe.
So yeah, so that was a great time, At first I'm like, oh wait, can I smoke this on the mountain? Like, can I smoke this in the city? I'm like, oh wait, all right, I'll smoke it in my house. But yeah, being able to just roll up to a dispensary and purchase was a great first experience in the end, yeah.
And to your point of like going on the mountains and stuff, which I smoke outside all the time. And,
yeah.
But it's like I read an interesting thing. I might have already told you that like national parks are illegal because it's national land.
Illegal,
like,
you said, or
it's
legal?
illegal.
Yeah,
which is interesting. I wouldn't have thought that. Like, oh, I'm just going to be in like Yosemite and blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
And I still would.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, hello, park ranger. That's a nice chipmunk over there.
I feel like every park ranger probably is on his own level.
Yeah. But at first, like, you show up, you're like, I'm going to roll up and smoke everywhere. And then you're like, oh, okay. I'll be respectful.
So when you went into the dispensaries out there, what was your like average buy? Would you just buy a little flour, some edibles, vapes?
I would definitely get some varieties of flour. Me and my roommates, made our custom little jars. We'd have our little jars for sativa, our hybrids, our indicas, our special. One of my friends actually is like he does the wire art. So he did some like wire art around our spoons. So we had like some little
with like it
artistic-
has like little gems on it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we
that's
had
dope.
those around the spoons to take the weed out of the jars. So
Damn.
I went all in on my bougie weed status when it was finally legal. But yeah, flour, and then of course the edibles. I love those the Stroop waffles.
Stroop waffle.
And that was actually a pretty big thing over in Amsterdam is Stroop waffles. But I didn't realize that beforehand. Yeah, but
You've seen.
yeah.
Okay, let's venture into Amsterdam a little bit.
Okay.
That vibe out there. You were showing me some pictures, like, because we were talking about this podcast, and then you were showing me just how it looked. I haven't been there.
Yeah.
But like the cafe, how was that breakdown when you went in?
So I heard, you go to Amsterdam and you can just smoke weed in what they call the coffee shops, which are they're like cafes. And you roll up and like people are like, oh, you gotta say this, you gotta say that, So I'm rolling up.
Another
I'm like,
keyword,
I'm
another
like,
password.
I'm like, but then I roll up trying to be all chill and cool. I'm like, hey, like I'm here at your coffee shop, and then really at the end of the day, the coffee shop I went to, I think it was Bulldog actually, which is a pretty well known coffee shop out there. I believe that's the name. Don't hold me to that. But I went in there and it's like the streamline. You go into Bulldog and he was just like, what do you want? And he just sells you your bud, and we rolled up a Fatty J on the couch, like in any cafe, and everyone's just chirping up, and it's good vibes. You're like, hey, what's up to you over there? Like, what's good to you? And everyone's, you know the vibe I'm talking about. And then the fact that, like, everyone's smoking in public, like, makes it that much more of a vibe, where you're just like, this is what's up. And in that moment, I was like, why can't we do this? Why aren't there more places like this out there in the U.S.? You know what I mean?
For real. It reminds me of like Venice Beach.
Yeah.
It's just always stanking like nice herbs and skunky.
Yeah. I think something about being in that, like, because people were outside too, like on the patios, but something about like the indoor public smoke setting was like, it's like a hookah lounge, but just filled with weed smoke. So it's a pretty chill vibe. And then also just like, it's all canals of water, if you guys know Amsterdam. So all the boats are going through the streets, which are the canals of water. And then it's all tall buildings that are all different colored. And
well, that's what was crazy is you showed me that picture and like it was the canals, and then there was like all these houses that were beautiful, like, and they're all so close, but the windows from the canal look like not that, like 3-4 feet higher.
Sometimes not even. I was like, how does that balance out? But it's pretty crazy. It's a trip, especially when you're smoking some herb while doing it. So
nice. Yeah, I feel I need to make it there for real.
For sure.
Were they selling anything else? Like, were they selling mushrooms or like anything?
I'm sure. I wasn't really looking, but there's definitely. I mean, and woman, like prostitution's legal there, so, or at least they make it seem like it, because there's like women in all the windows. So I don't know. They're selling that, and I'm sure probably a bunch of other stuff along the way. So
crazy times there, huh?
Yeah.
And you traveled there when you were living in Spain?
Yeah.
Correct? So you did a bunch of different trips. That was your central location when you were teaching out there English.
Yeah.
So were there any other cool trips that come to your mind just off the top?
Oh, yeah. So when I was living out in Spain, even Barcelona itself is sick. And I actually tried to go on a few bud journeys there, but I got a little scared down a dark alley by myself. They're like, oh, take a left here. I'm like, all right,
Like, I've been in the jungle, let's go.
Yeah. But, I backed out of that. Like I said, I'm very aware I'm not just don't go blind in every situation. So, dipped out of that one. But yeah. But, no, Barcelona itself is a sick place. There's a lot of diversity. It's got everything. You're in the city and then you hop right over to the beach. So, that's nice. You're literally exploring the Gothic quarter of all these sick, crazy buildings, and then you can just go ahead and chill at the beach. And actually, the first time I went to the beach, I'm not familiar with nude beaches because this is my first few days in Spain. And I look over and see a old man's diggities, and I wasn't expecting that one. So nudity was definitely a whole different thing over there too. Everywhere you go.
Yeah, huh? That's the thing for old men too. Everywhere, I feel like.
Yeah.
You go in the locker room, old men just like walking around like, look.
Yeah, but it's a little different when you're like, I look over, I'm like, God, this is such a pretty beach. I'm like, oh, shit. What's up? But
yeah, I've never been to a nude beach.
Yeah, I started to, vibe with that, though. It's pretty chill.
I
I lived over there for about a year, so I was like, do as the natives do, and that was pretty cool.
And it makes sense, too, like, that lifestyle that's so, like, there it's so sexual might not be the right word, but they're so much more open to that. Where I'm sure most people like, and here in America, people were so more open to violence and everything.
Yeah.
Like it's like like sex is like put under and became it's like this thing that like is like low key. Whereas I
Yeah.
feel like people I know in Europe and have talked to, I haven't traveled there, but everybody's like it's chill. Like it's not like a 40-year-old version putting it on a pedestal type deal. You know, it's like all.
It's much more open, and I will say with that, which is kind of crazy, is like when you look at the pharmaceuticals here and then also gun violence over there in Europe, everyone's like, what the F is wrong with you Americans and all of that, because it's so extreme. But over there it's like a way more, at least in Spain, like just laid back lifestyle in that way, and like that isn't always their go-to is violence, like you're saying, and then also prescriptions.
Because weed in Spain is looked down on. It's really bad. Like.
Yeah, it's looked down upon, but actually something I didn't do. I guess they do have a similar thing that Amsterdam has, but like way more low key, where you can have like a membership and it's like an under the table kind of thing. Like, and if you hear about it, like a lot of I've seen in the hostels, and a lot of people are like, okay, where are these coffee shops? And if I wanted to get something, I could have a connection, you know, whatever. But there are these coffee shops where you pay like an entrance fee basically, and then you pay the additional price. So like there's a low key scheme over there, which I was grinding, you know, and I was like, okay, and by myself, I'm like, you know, maybe if I had some people, like I had a bunch of friends, but I wasn't trying to pounce on that. But people definitely did it and got like the hookup, even though it's low key. So there's that. If you're out in Barcelona looking around, there are the shops that are low key and they do hook you up. So
in is it a lot of wine out there? A lot of.
Oh yeah, you get wine for essentially like, you could get decent wine for €1, so like essentially $1.
Like a bottle or a glass?
No, like a bottle.
Damn.
And like, and if you're not familiar with European money, like €1 it looks like a quarter, and so you just like give them like your like American quarter essentially. It's like the euro. You're like here, and like you get a bottle of wine, and super chill. And like you can just do it in public. You can just drink it in public. So like you're just like walking along, drinking on the street.
It's chill. It's like Vegas. Have you been to Vegas?
I have not. I need to go. I know. I'm waiting to blow like all the money, so I'm gonna like hold off a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good time.
Yeah.
But that's the cool thing there is everybody's drinking.
Yeah.
But I was talking to somebody recently on the podcast. Forgive me, I'm forgetting who it was, but they were saying like that smoking's still not that chill there. Even though, and then I was like, yo, I was rolling around. I'm happy. I'm all good.
In Vegas, you're saying?
Because it's legal there, but they're saying like they're still kind of messing with people a little bit. Like, but I'm like, if people are chugging whatever they want on the streets, they should be able to smoke whatever they want.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, weed, you know, not crack.
I don't think I realized actually, because I've never been there, that you're just drinking on the streets there.
Same thing in New York. Even when I was 16 visiting New York,
yeah,
we just keep it in a paper bag, 40 ounce, drinking that.
But New York, obviously, it isn't legal. Is it legal in Vegas, or do they just kind of hush?
It's legal in Vegas, but like when you're over 21, but they're not going to mess with you. It's like New York, they have more shit going on. Like I was saying, like in Africa earlier, like there's more worries, like, or more important things like saving lives and helping people than like, oh, there's some 17-year-old drinking a 40 ounce. They're like, all right, cool, whatever.
True.
And when I'm talking about the beer here, let's bring in the first True Buds cheers of all time here.
Cheers, man! I'm so happy to be here.
That's good to have
happy
you.
Happy to be hanging, man. We're opening our creative eye by the hour.
Yeah. Last night we had a brainstorm session that just...
full-on flow brainstorm session, you know, like where your hairs start coming up and you're like...
we had a couple freak out ones like...
pick my hat up, throw it on the floor, like, we got this! It's that we had a breakthrough, I think, last night. Which is pretty baller,
awesome. Yeah. And I think that's important to maybe share. It was like the whole deeper lying message of the breakthrough is like just, well, we're from a big family, so it's like just working together, sharing what we have, you know, instead of spending so much time on like something that's not really benefiting anybody, maybe besides where you're working. I can speak for myself, you know, as being a bartender for a long time.
Yeah.
It's like I'm helping people. I've met great people, not downplaying that, but it's like it's making the owners a lot more money, and it's not really advancing my personal goals that much besides investing in stuff. So
yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, yeah, and like kind of like I was saying last night, like I think we have something in our blood. I couldn't really give you the science behind that right now, but it's a bit of tiger blood, I think, in that grind. And 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 just, but when you're grinding it out in a category that's not your own, it's like, and then when you do start, like, you start breaking through and grinding out your own stuff, it's like that drive every day that wakes you up and pumps through you. So it just feels damn good when you're focusing it more on yourself, even though, like you're saying, you are doing good things and you're learning a lot from your bartending or me working with families and things or teaching. But when you're grinding on yourself and your passions, that's when,
like, for real, you just
feels
crushed, like,
good.
everybody, for real, I'm not even kidding. Like, we did a couple takes. Emily just crushed her first YouTube video. There were good vibes that got me thinking. So once again,
Thanks,
Positive Mind
man.
Emily, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
Positive Mind Emily.
And then Happy Marbles as well. Go follow her on that too.
Happy Marbles, happy with an I.
That's where most of your dope travel pictures are on that I've seen, right?
Yeah. That's my personal IG.
There's one that you have, and you guys should look at this or go to this place. Because where's that picture when you're on a little canoe and it's like a turquoise water with mountains?
You gotta go up to Canada. Yeah.
That was Canada?
Yeah, I'm up in Canada. I'm in Banff. I'm at Chateau Louis, I believe it's the name, actually.
Oui.
Yeah, I believe that is the name. No, but you, like, hop out, like, it was actually a spontaneous road trip. I just moved up to Florida. My homie, Adam, what's up?
Shout out Adam.
Yeah, no, he was rolling through Fort Collins in Colorado, and he was like, hey, my homie bailed, and I'm taking this huge road trip by myself that I've been planning for a year. And I was like, what's up with that? And so we went up and got lunch, and me and my roommate actually spontaneously hopped in the car with him, went on a few-day road trip up to Canada. So I didn't know a lot about Canada. Like, I may sound a little ignorant there, but I just really, I just, like, yeah, except that the weed's illegal in some places. No, but I, like, have had more of a drive to go, across the pond. So when we got up there, and the water was just crystal blue everywhere, and we're rolling along with our nice bleezy, and I'm looking over, and the water's just crystal blue. So they're doing something a lot more right than we are here with our water. It's crazy, but yeah.
That's awesome. And the closest water I've seen like that is Cancun. That's why I was happy to go and see that. But it still didn't look like it did in that picture. It's different,
yeah, because, like, it's all these lakes and rivers over there.
It looked Photoshop. Like,
yeah. And, like, yeah, I know. They're like, yeah, right. I'm like, no, for real, this is what it looks like. The mountains are giant. The water's so blue. And, like, we found a random campsite, and we're like, oh, sweet, we'll camp out here. You just walk out back through the trees, and there's just another beautiful lake that looks just like the others, and you're like, how is this possible? So it looks like blue Kool-Aid, like, but bluer, to give you a little reference there. So. And
did you just had the hook there? Or did you go to was it legal at that time? Because I know.
No, we definitely just had some things and situated it ourselves. Just because we weren't really familiar, but yeah.
It's always safe. Always a safe bet.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty amazing. It's crazy, like, I just keep bringing stuff up and you're like, oh yeah, that was just Canada.
Yeah.
No biggie.
Yeah.
Just Amsterdam.
Yeah. That was a pretty epic trip to Canada. I've been wanting to do one ever since then.
So do you have any trips? I know you're moving to Florida, which I want to talk a little bit about because I was looking a little earlier about, let's just talk about it now. In Florida right now, what I was reading is it's medicinal and you need it like a doctor's recommendation like you need it in California. Now, I know in California when I moved there and I was getting the recommendation, it was pretty simple. And the list that I looked at for Florida was basically the same thing.
Yeah.
You can get it pretty, it's not hard, and a lot of people do need it, so I'm like, that's cool. So that's cool that you might have access and you can get a medical card.
Yeah, I will say I do have definitely a few things. Like, back in the cheerleading days, I, fractured my spine and things, and that definitely still gives me some trouble. And then with migraines and things like that, and a few other aspects, I think getting that medical would be a pretty nice option for me.
For real.
So, yeah, I just gotta keep looking around, see where I can get it, expand my knowledge. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, well, I'm about to start working with the company Nug,
okay,
who does online doctor recommendations. So I can hook you up with that, and I'll also put some information below to anybody watching or listening so they can check that out too. Show them a little love,
Yeah, that'd be sweet. I'll check it. You said Nug.
Nug, N-U-G-G.
Okay, and they give the online.
Yeah, it's an online doctor recommendation platform for medical cannabis.
Perfect. I will definitely check that out.
So we'll dive a little more into that and maybe even make another video and see how that works for you. I haven't personally used it yet. I just started talking to the company recently. They reached out to me, so I'm gonna start working with them. But it seemed like a legit platform, and I'm down to help people get recommendations when they can. Like
Exactly.
easy as you can, because it's a peace of mind.
I will say right now too, because I'm moving there next week in the middle of all the chaos going on in the world. So
That's
I think,
crazy too.
So yeah, so it's a lot, but we got to keep grinding.
Mm-hmm.
So, but going in somewhere right now is not ideal. So having that online option is also kick ass. So.
Especially too, because when I've gone in California, the first time I literally waited a couple hours, and then they took $5 off. Or 10. It was like, they're like, oh, we'll take some. Well, okay. Well, I still wasn't too mad because I was like, it was the first time. Like, okay, I'm good now. Like I was saying, peace of mind. I was like, for real.
Yeah.
Rolling around like it's all good, you know?
Exactly.
You don't gotta stress.
And I'm the type of person that like I do a lot online, almost like the large percent. So that commute even for me, I'm like, this is wasted time. This is grind time, baby. So saving that time, doing it online.
Oh, nice tag. For real, and that's a good little segue here because you do online, a lot of different, schoolwork, also teaching online. There's so many online hustles that you can be doing. Like we're just talking about this nug right now. Like the possibilities are really endless. Content, making videos. Like we live in a great age right now.
For real, yeah. I will say for anyone that has an interest that has English as like their first language, as I do. Right now, it's a great time. I teach English online, and I got like a certification online. Online, baby. But no, I got the certification online to teach, and that was before I even went to Spain. But now, like, I have a lot of companies that I'm interested in. One that I work for now, one that I'm getting hired onto just to help teach English, and that's a nice option if anyone's interested in that for consistent online income as well. So
that's what's up. Yeah, I've never really had an online job apart from making videos and doing some podcasts and making money that way. But I was looking more into it, especially when this stuff started all going down. But I'm just like, I'm just going to keep focusing on True Buds and creating content that way. While also I need to dive a little more into the personal brand, which is also something good to talk about that we were talking about last night. It's hard. It's hard to figure out. I mean, and if you have it figured out, props to you.
For real.
Especially like.
Yeah.
They
don't talk about that shit in high school.
Yeah,
you're trying to learn and you're taking your extra stuff, but it's like that personal dive to realize what your values are, what you care about, what you want to project.
That should be a class, personal brand, or at least branding.
I know, nothing. And so it's all kind of once you get out there and even you get into college, and like I've had some cool professors that help you get into that, or if you're not into school, maybe you have a mentor, but it's kind of something that from at least my experience, you got to try to find yourself, which at first isn't always easy for people to realize if they're trying to create that brand. So,
and I have an idea the other day that I'm gonna do, because I put all my content out for free. All my shit's for free, but I am working on. I've been in the past, since this has been all going down, a couple of weeks, I've really been diving into it more of creating to start. I'm gonna have different courses, but the first course is gonna be about making cannabis content.
Yeah.
And my experience for video, and I'll bring some other people on to talk about some other aspects through photo, like Instagram or whatever. But like just a simple course, I might even sell it just for like a couple dollars, But just so like if it's $5, like buy a course if you're trying to work in this field, I would buy that from the beginning if I saw a course where it's like, I mean, and you could go online, let's be real, you could Google it, you could do your own thing and figure it out. You could even watch all my podcasts and all my other content and you'd be cool. But it's just like a product online to sell.
Yeah, no,
that's
a big thing.
Yeah.
It's huge. How to, and like you're saying, just having your courses, but you do have valuable information at this point because I've had the similar ideas and with teaching English and stuff and teaching people how to do it. And you have that knowledge now and being able to implement that, and I'm sure you can help a lot of people along the way doing that because I know I follow a lot of people too which fashion isn't really my huge cup of tea, but all these fashion influencers are now teaching these other girls that are into fashion, for example, how to do it and how to put yourself out there. And I think something that I've read a lot along the way so far from these people is vulnerability and you just being straight up about what you're interested in instead of trying to code it with something else.
Do a little sugar coat on there, code it again, do another. But that's back to the personal brand, but that's also too a test of the time, I think, too.
Yeah.
Is that it was way easier to bullshit back in the day.
Yeah.
Now people see through, especially like this. I don't know how long exactly we've been recording for, but it's like, we're just being us here. We're not like, I'm not putting on a front. Like, we're trying to like do, you know what I mean? Like, and that's why I love podcasts.
Yeah.
And that's why it's going to be cool. I think you should, like, I know you're starting out in the YouTube and which like starting to crush these videos, but I think a podcast would be a cool thing to have in the future.
Yeah.
Even if to start, it was like a solo one.
I've played with that. Like, I know I've gone on some long road trips by myself where I'm like, to the point I'm like 4 hours deep and I'm like, hey, Emily. I'm like, tell me something interesting. And I'm talking to myself, and I was like, I'm going to start recording myself. And then I 6 hours deep in my road trip. Then I just am playing myself back to myself. I'm like, all right, you know what? Maybe that was like my first introduction to me thinking of doing podcasts. And I was like, re-listening to myself. I was like, wow. I was like, this is kind of inspiring.
So, well, that's how I felt about your video today. And honestly, even though it was like a 5-minute video or something, that could be its own. That could be a podcast. Podcasts don't have to be any certain length.
Yeah.
It's all about this is on video, this is on audio. Mm-hmm. What you did today could easily be an audio podcast by itself.
A lot of crossover in a lot of ways, which
is easy to underestimate.
True,
and when I first got started in podcasts, I thought it was it was a little daunting at first, like trying to. It seemed a little intimidating. Now I've been doing it since November, so it's coming a lot more naturally. Like, we're doing it right here, setting this up. Obviously, like the Third Wheel Podcast Studio where I shoot has a little better audio, visual. Yeah. But like you said, we got to hustle. But just another thought for content. And for anybody listening or watching, it's not that hard. You could go in your closet with the clothes to help muffle the sound. Yeah. On your cell phone. Yeah. And record and it doesn't have to be video. Yeah. If you are somebody who's maybe even nervous about being on video, it's even that much better. Yeah. Go in your closet on your iPhone. That's true. Make a podcast.
Yeah. Why not sit in your car or whatever? And then, which luckily I'm about to move into this 2-bedroom with me and my significant other. But I'm like, I'm recording my podcast in the other room.
So is that other room going to be a little studio office space?
Art studio. Nice. Actually, for my birthday, he got me like an art table and all that. So I'm going to have my art section for sure. And then also guest
art table. Is that
it's like a drafting table.
Is that kind of like what we're on right now?
Yeah, it's what we're on right now, but. I wanted one this big actually, but Amazon didn't really satisfy with that. But that's okay. I found a glass one on Amazon that hopefully I haven't seen it in person, but I think it'll do the job, and it tilts up and down, so paint and create and all that. And then it's also the guest room when you come and kick it. So
that's what's up. Yeah, I'm excited to go visit because I've just gone out for that cruise I went on. I went to Fort Lauderdale to just go out on the cruise, but. Yeah. Like I was telling you, I hear some crazy stories about Florida. Yeah, I'm excited. I've never lived there. I don't know a lot about it. So, I'm kind of the person, if you can't tell from this podcast already, but I like to just go ahead and dive in. You seem pretty nervous to go somewhere else. Yeah. Traveling alone. It's just to resurface. I went to Spain alone also. But I'm not going to Florida alone. First time. I'm just kidding. Excited to dive into... something new again. The weather though, like I hear it rains there more than California, which has been raining like crazy in California, and I feel like everywhere right now. But it's just like that. The palm trees and sand and the beach, they give you even just the palm trees on the streets, I know, Hollywood, anywhere, cool. And it's easy to forget though. Yeah. And that's where I've been trying to get back into, because when I first moved out, I'd do bike rides on the Strand all the time. I'd hit the beach all the time, and then it hit me. I was like, shit. Thinking about it right now, probably 2 or 3 months ago, I kicked it on the beach. Yeah. So it's easy though once you start living there for a while. Yeah. I will say with what I talked about today, it's something I try to consciously, the mindfulness and all that, and trying to continuously be grateful for all that, which is it's a practice for sure. And I've never lived near the palm trees. Like you're saying, you've been there for a while. When I was in Spain, I was an hour north, so I was still in the mountains from Barcelona, which was more with more palm trees and the beach and everything. I'm pretty pumped. And especially with our genetics, get this pale skin back to our nice little bronze. Yeah. With lots of sunscreen, of course. But yeah, that's something I've been doing more too. We used to just never wear sunscreen, but... Or me. Yeah. No sunscreen.
Yeah, I'm like, ooh, is this oil?
Yeah, just put on
This is gonna make me even tanner. We're like, not even. Yeah, that's,
beach life though.
yeah.
Is
No,
that,
but now these days I'm very cautious.
do
and-
you and your man have a tent?
Yeah, we do.
Okay,
Yeah.
and that's what
It's
I've started
actually-
doing more recently.
Yeah,
Because we'd just go, and then recently, like we've been bringing a tent,
yeah.
and that's so chill. You get a little like.
Are you saying like a beach tent or
we,
like
we
a
have
tent
just a
tent?
straight up camping tent. We don't have a necessarily
Okay,
beach tent,
yeah.
but it's like a 6-person tent or whatever.
Oh.
I
Yeah.
don't know, 4 to 6 people.
Yeah.
So we just set that up, post up in there. And that's
Nice.
like, it's just nice to be able to get out of the sun,
Yeah.
have some drinks in there, just have a little like seclusion,
Mm-hmm.
and then have towels out front, lay on the towels. Just the tent's been down.
No, that's nice. And we have ours is a little bit smaller than that, which I wish I could call out the brand right now because it's an amazing tent. We'll have to get back on that. It's like all magnetic poles and all that. It sets up real quick. But I would love to do that. And especially like we're lucky that we are easily burnt in the sun, with the sunscreen. But for anyone that needs to be more cautious too and fair skinned, hopping in that tent,
Yeah,
getting out
that's
of
what
that
I'm
sun.
saying.
Because like I have some homies where they're in the sun for like an hour and I'm chilling and then I can tell. I like look over and they're not saying anything and I'm like, oh shit, you're hurting from
Damn,
like because
yeah.
that sun hits strong on the coast. So
Sunburn can hurt for real too, but there's nothing too like sometimes better than just like smoking looking out at the ocean.
oh yeah.
Like for real.
Oh yeah, I was on this island right off of Majorca. It's like a 20-minute flight from Barcelona, but hour flight. Sorry, I meant 20 euro flight. But no, like an hour flight, $20 basically to fly to this island.
Shit.
Yeah. I was like, well, that 20 is not accurate. So you get out there, and I remember I was like, I've been practicing all the things I'm kind of about to start preaching, and so I was like in the moment, and I'm like smoking on the beach, and just a happy tear rolls down my face. I'm like, I know. I was like, I'm not much of a happy crier, I'll say, like, but I was like, oh wow, this is
Damn,
amazing.
that's real.
Yeah, it was, and it was cool because I will say it did come from a lot of my practices because you kind of choose how your brain's gonna work in the end. But yeah, that Jay on the beach, man. But it's hard.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, I think the only like happy cries I've had is just like me just having like uncontrollable laughter.
Yeah.
And like tears will start coming.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god! Like last night when we made that silly video.
Yeah,
that
that was
was
pretty funny. we should.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you guys.
it's
Yeah, that will probably never be released.
Yeah, no, that's some funny stuff though. You got to keep it silly.
Yeah, gotta keep it going. But do you have any questions or any thoughts about like the cannabis game or like anything like?
I want to start doing more at home, and when I was living out in Colorado, I had a lot more access, and I will soon enough when I now hopefully go through that NUG as well and get that license or whatever.
Recommendation license. Yeah.
But I've made butter at home, and that lasted me forever. But then, like, I guess with me, like, getting the dose right can be kind of hard sometimes. Like, I made this butter, and then I was new to this job, and like I was like, oh, I'm in Colorado, I'll bring weed cookies to our work party, and I was like, oh yeah, there's only like they're not that strong, but then they ended up actually being like strong as fuck, and like, and I felt bad, and like, cause like people are pretty innocent, like, oh, they're like that's that weak. I'm like, yeah, like it's like that it should be, and then like I ended up accidentally getting the whole party like super stoned.
Damn.
And I felt bad, and everyone was like, no, it was funny, but like I was like, that's not chill. I need to learn how to dose out.
That's what the sponsor was I mentioned at the beginning.
Okay.
The T-check device.
Okay.
So you would say you had your butter.
Yeah.
You would take it, you would turn this device on it, and you would download the app.
Okay.
Right? So then all you would do is it has a little dropper. The butter would need to be, it couldn't be hard, it would need to be like a liquid form. So you take a liquid form butter, stick it in the little slide, like I've seen you do with your science stuff you're working on right now.
Yeah, chemistry, baby.
All you do is stick it in the device, and it gives you, so far to me, a very accurate reading. And it lets you break it down into tablespoons, teaspoons, milliliters.
Oh,
And
that's
yeah, I just got this
completely
thing.
ironic
Yeah.
because I didn't know that's
Yeah.
what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
it's
But
freaking
that's
legit.
Like, yeah, ever since that day, I'm like, oh my god, and I'm like, I'm the weed noob. I'm like, and I just got my whole work party so high. So, I'm gonna have to test that out once
It's really legit.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, this thing is solid.
Yeah.
Because I've been there too.
Because it's hard, like you're trying to Dose things out.
And everybody's different. You're gauging it off yourself, or like when I do, I'm gauging it off me, and have a different tolerance. And some people have way higher, and some people have way lower.
Exactly. And like I'm like, oh, like I wanted to make my boyfriend some like eggs. I'm like, oh, I'll make you some like green eggs and ham. You know what I'm saying? And then I looked like he was ripped, and I was like, oh my god! I was like, this is not like they were okay with it. Just so you guys know, but it's like you know you want to be able to give an accurate dose and not just put people on their ass.
And that's where I 100% agree, and I've mentioned this before on this podcast, is that I would see some videos like when I was first starting out, and people would just make stuff and not say anything about it. So I'm like, what I'm gonna do is make the recipe, which I was saying, and then at the end I test it. But like I'm saying, my tolerance is different, but I still try to give a gauge, whereas of how strong it is. Because a lot of people just make it and it's like, oh, did that work?
Exactly.
Like, was that good?
Exactly.
Because I've made some stuff too and be like, oh, this wasn't the best. Like, I needed more.
Yeah.
Or this shit, like, hit really hard, so be careful.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why I always try to...
That butter lasted me all year, and I wouldn't leave the house if I ate it. Like, just for a reference, after I learned that. So, like, saying it's huge. Like, because being able to make your own, as you know, like, changes the whole ball game. Because you're like, wait, I have this much butter to make how many edibles? Just for example, you know, or whatever you're using. So, like, getting to know those skills and being able to make it at home saves you a pretty penny. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And especially if you're lucky enough, like me, to have a friend that grows.
Penny, yeah.
It gives me his trim and shake. But a lot of dispensaries also, when you get your medical card, sell shake too.
Yeah, shake was my go-to in Colorado for real. Like, I mean, I'm about that beautiful nug, but like when I was out there and I was like, Colorado grade, it was cheap. I was like, you're giving me an O for $50? I was like, all right. So I was literally like, we just have like one time.
And that's a potent batch of an edible.
Yeah, and like we would do a lot of edibles. And one time, like once we lived out there, like I described how bougie we were with our little weed jars. We obviously weren't. Those were never empty, and. But one point we were like, oh shit, we gotta head down and get some more. And we're in the pantry like munching and we're like, dude, I just found an O. Like, it's just so casual. You're like, oh, an O, a shake, you could just put it in the back and forget about it.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy. So.
That's always nice when you find something.
That
That happened to me the other day. I was like, ooh.
Exactly. But like after living somewhere where like weed wasn't legal my whole life, and finding like an ounce, even if it's shake, which was still fire, in your pantry, you're like, all right.
Yeah, it's another. Yeah. It really is another world, another vibe that people who haven't been in these places wouldn't understand.
Yeah, exactly, and it gets rid of, I will say, for any of you that are in the places where it's not legal, in that like paranoia behind it sometimes, and like you get to the place where it is legal and you're like. No worries,
and the thing is, though, I still find myself though sometimes like.
Same, I know.
Yeah,
and
it's like ingrained.
The Colorado natives were like, bro. Chill, you're such a twack. I'm like, sorry, man. I don't have like the benefits that you've had. But I mean, we all gotta do what we gotta do. We gotta try to remind ourselves to chill out and stay safe about it.
So you were gonna move back to Colorado.
I was.
So what was the deciding factor to say Florida?
Okay, this is kind of funny. So about a month and a half ago, I'd say a month and a half ago. I had all my apartment appointments scheduled for Colorado, and I was like, all right, I'm back from Spain. We're here in Kansas City to see my family. I'm going to go out to Colorado with my boyfriend. And I'm basically, like I said, all online, and he travels for a living, so we're throwing some logs on the fire. Now we're about to go to Colorado, which we love.
I thought that was a metaphor for a second.
No, for real. This is literally what happened. And, like, we're travelers, we're free spirits. And we're throwing logs on the fire here in Kansas City, and it's cold, and love all you Kansas Cityans, but it's just not my place, so like, let's skedaddle out of here, and throwing logs in the fire, and we're like, okay, we're flying to Colorado in like 2 days, and I was like, let's go to the beach, and he's like, yeah, we can vacation, and I was like, let's just move there, and so we just changed our flight the next day, canceled all of our appointments in Colorado, and just flew out to Florida instead, so. Literally, it was like it was a 2-day spontaneous move deal, and then now I'm gonna go out there and see what's up. Yeah,
and that's awesome to keep that open.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I love that. You know, I also respect people who are very analytical and set in their ways.
Yeah,
But
me
I'm
too.
I'm like
Me
that
too.
with you, whereas
Yeah.
I'm a little more like not probably like I'm you know me, I'm still doing crazy shit, been making tons of crazy content for years and years and
Yeah.
going out to California always, but still like you're still more like open, I think, to doing like
Yeah.
oh let's like
I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go to Africa. See you guys. Okay, I'm heading off to Europe now.
Yeah.
Like the whole family, we're one of 8, as he said, as I'm sure you know, and
Yeah.
like I'm really kind of the only one that's been that like ridiculous. So everyone's like,
yeah, I don't
all
think
right,
anybody else has none of
see
us.
ya. But yeah, it's just kind of who I am. So I just
Yeah.
embrace it. I mean, I definitely spend time to think about, and I immerse myself in nature typically, and try to embrace what I've talked about and then what I will be talking about on my channel. But just fully ensuring I'm not just like, okay, I'm gonna jump on a plane tomorrow. I'm like, well, realistically, like in the long run,
You're
I'm
like
not-
3 weeks for
no,
yours.
no, I truly try to like take time and to channel in and feel like what truly feels right and move
That's
forward.
what I
like
say
that.
too all the time, and it sounds so cliche when I'm like,
Yeah,
just
I don't
trust your
even
gut.
care. Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
that's my thing too. Is like, just do it.
Yeah.
If you don't, you're gonna regret it, and that's in my mind the worst thing you can ever live with is just regrets.
Exactly. And like something that I like tend to do is be like worst case scenario, like what? Like
Yeah.
you know, like that's like in so many like yeah, like and I don't know if that's always a way to look at it. But,
No,
you
that's
know,
when I start getting stressed. I do
sometimes,
that.
yeah,
I'm like,
I'm like literally, what's the worst thing that's gonna
No.
happen? You go back to where you were anyway. Like okay,
Oh, yeah.
and you had a new experience that you learned from, even if it didn't work out. You know what I mean?
well, it's always good to
So,
look at for real.
yeah, as
especially
long as-
anything.
Yeah, but that comes with I will say I want to like put in there with solo travel because I've done it a few times and like you just can't go into that ignorantly and like I feel like I just want to stress that a little bit. You know, like yeah, go in, do it if that's what you truly feel, but you got to be aware of
Do
your
your prep,
surroundings. You got to research where you're going. You got to do all that. So I just want to stress that within the free spirit itself. You got to be smart about those like free spirit decisions, if that makes sense.
Yeah, my buddy Bryce was telling me he traveled abroad. He was living in Italy, studying abroad, I should say. And he said one night he was really close to actually like, getting really fucked up, like jumped. Like these dudes were following him. He luckily made it away. But he has his head on his shoulders. He did his work, like you're saying. He knows his shit, but it's like, shit's real. And I mean,
Yeah.
not even abroad, even here domestic.
Oh, yeah.
Like, shit, like especially if it's just like in LA. Like,
Yeah.
there's crazy people fucking everywhere. But it's like, you just gotta be, there's a fine line between being paranoid and just being aware.
It's true. Which, like, I will say one more thing I wanted to come back to on the Africa thing, which just, this was a little mind-boggling for me, that I was always aware there, like, hyper-aware, you know, like, but still comfortable, like I said. But when I came back and I was at a gas station at night, I was like, what's this feeling? And I was like, but it was like being back here and having that unsteady feeling, you know what I mean? You know, I don't know if you know, like,
No,
I'm
I do,
sure
'cause
you
I
did,
drove-
like,
I-
you know,
when I
gas
drove
station-
here-
yeah.
When I've done the road trip from Kansas to Cali twice, and I've driven from Cali to Kansas once, but all those times, if you're driving at night in a rural town
sketchy.
and some random like truck stop looking
Yeah.
thing, your just senses are a little more hyper intense, if that's the right word. But you're just a little more aware, and you're like, because I'm like, I don't know where the fuck I am. Like my GPS knows where I am, and that's where it's kind of
As
crazy
if
to
it's
think
still
that.
plugged in,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? And then, like, I've done that also, too, with, like, just girl road trips, too, which, like, not to say, you know, girls can fend for themselves, I'll fuck you up. No, I'm just kidding. No, but you know what I'm saying, though.
No,
and,
for
like,
real.
and how they take that. But I will say, which is just kind of crazy with being over there and everyone's like, you know, like, I did my research on where I was going in Ghana and all that, but if people don't really know what's up, like, that still sounds super intimidating to a lot of people. But I try to give that as, like, a weird reference because I hadn't felt that for the whole time I was over there, even though I was aware. And I got back and I was like, what's this? Like, that feeling arose and
Yeah.
I was confused because I was like, what is this feeling? I was like, oh, I feel really unsafe. Like, you know what I mean? And just insecure, but no matter where I was over there, I never felt like that, which is kind of crazy.
Interesting. And
Isn't it?
that made me think of something else too, because you and your man were very close to buying a tiny like mobile home.
Oh,
if
that's
I'm not
still,
mistaken.
yeah, no, that's
Oh,
still on my agenda.
Okay.
For sure. So he travels for a living, as I said, so he wants to have a home base right now, or else.
Which I get, yeah, that
no,
makes sense.
absolutely. That's our moving to Florida.
He's like, where are you? Like, I don't know.
I'm like in our van by the river, baby. No, but
Oh shit.
yeah, taking a bath. No, but no, that's definitely, I'm like more minimalistic, and I'll get into that also with my channel. It's something that I think makes a huge difference for me, and I think a lot of people, but that I wanted to get a tiny house, but now I think if we stick to having a home base, that we'll redo a van. I'm really hands-on, he's really hands-on, and like he builds robots, so we're gonna eventually put together a whole van. I think will be the move. But like I wanted to do that full
And you'll
on.
have like just a robot helping you out.
Yeah. No,
It's like-
he'll no, but
He's
I'm
like rolling
saying,
up for you. Like, roll me a J.
no, but just for yeah, I'll have my J robot, my blunt robot. No, but he like just for reference of
Yeah,
his,
I'm just
yeah, yeah. But so I want that eventually to make it less intense as a home base, which I totally respect and I would do. All those people that live van life, the tiny house life. But I think it'll be more of our like vacation van home.
And I don't know if I've told you this. I might have mentioned it in some content. I've definitely mentioned it in some content. I don't know, a podcast. But in college, I went to school for, film and theater. We had to do a documentary, and we did a documentary on one dude who had his little VW, like 76 VW, and he traveled.
Speaking my language.
And he traveled across, and we asked him, like, what did you take? What's your underlying thing you took the most from your trip across the 50 states? I don't know. I think he might have done 40 some states. And he's like, that people in general are pretty good, man. That's like kind of like almost verbatim for what, and I was like, damn, like, because I feel like a lot of people are so quick to like downplay humanity, but that's where like, especially like this whole cannabis stoner culture is like you were saying earlier, like there's this anyway, like the dispensaries, like that Colorado life, like Amsterdam, like the being in the cafes, like it's so people are just chilling.
Exactly.
Like there's like no like hostility.
Yeah.
Like
I remember like rolling up in Colorado, and I'm in wherever I was, and they're like, sometimes like in some other places, and everywhere's different, but it's like blah 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 ABC, and they're like, "What's good? How you doing today?" And I'm like, "Damn!" I was like, "I'm really good." You know what I mean? Just like creating that conversation and that vibe that I think is around cannabis is pretty just amazing, and I love it. And I hope, honestly, aspire one day to be able to like open those type of communities, because it's amazing. And it's that social factor too, where I've had social circles and I'm like, we're all hitting up the bowl, whatever. I'm like, we might not be having this conversation if it wasn't for this little bit of pot after work. We're like, let's all go smoke a bowl.
For real.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's kind of like that. You never know, even if you don't try, but like, even with like, even saying, like you said, like saying hi to somebody, who knows, that person that you said hi to, just that like might end up being one of your best friends, might end up being a business connection.
Yeah.
Or they just might end up being a douchebag.
Yeah. But
you
either
never
way,
know.
you learn
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
And I'll say, like, even with traveling solo, you basically, like, I'm not the type of person, like, I'm gonna chat up some people, I'm abroad, and it's cool, because over where I've been, people are from everywhere, which makes it even cooler, from around the world. And chatting up, it's just, like, it's chill. And, like, I've even made friends when we went to Paris, and we went to a concert in Paris from just people that, like, I chatted up with and made friends with. So, you never know who you're going to talk to.
Yes.
And that's weed involved or not weed involved, but with weed,
Yeah, just leave it open.
yeah,
right? Like
it
you're
makes it
saying,
a lot, but it's a nice connecting factor, in my opinion, to relationships.
Yeah,
sometimes.
it's kind of it's an instant kind of bond.
Yeah.
And I was about to compare it to like we did at Cheers, having a little. It's funny that you got me beat a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But like I feel like alcohol's kind of similar when you're at a bar. People are doing cheers. It's just a community thing. I guess anything that provides a sense of community for people is good to an extent, I guess. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
people are doing some crazy hard shit, and it's still like a sense of. I don't
It's
know.
all, yeah.
I can't
but
really
that's-
speak on
no,
that.
neither
I don't know.
can I. But I'm sure it does go that way, which I think sometimes it's probably a little not the most fortunate. But in every category, it's different, no matter what. Something I've become to learn and like analyzing, because I've been studying psychology for quite a few years now, is how big a difference community makes on our mental health, and in my opinion is essential to have some type of community that you can grasp with and relate to.
And that's where I feel you for sure. And that's
Yeah.
where I feel like right now with all this going on,
Yeah.
this Corona shit is like, I honestly feel for the people, and I want to make more content for the people who are literally like by themselves, like
Yeah.
confined to their apartment, and they can't really like, because there's a lot of people who go out to the bars every night,
Exactly. Yeah.
or go out to eat every night,
Yeah.
and they live by themselves.
Yeah.
Some of them, you know what I mean, and that's their social interaction, and now it's just gone.
Exactly. You know
It's
what
like-
that makes me think of? There's a man named Jim. He's 86. I met him actually a few months ago at a jazz lounge, and I saw him sitting there by himself, and we were chatting away. And now Jim's my good friend, and you actually just made that spark in my mind. He said he doesn't really text or make phone calls, but like even just thinking about just for a random example, I'm thinking like, dang, what's Jim doing now? Because he's not in this jazz
Yeah.
lounge every night, and like. This is obviously all affecting people differently, but just like that, and he was like, and we sat down, and I've chatted with him for hours on end now, Jim's my friend, but just to think, just anybody, it's like, dang, now you're cooped up, and something he actually specifically said, I was like, so what brings you out all the time here? And he goes, anything's better than the four walls of my apartment, and so you saying that is what brought me back to that, and it's like, dang, if we can do anything to try to reach out to anybody, no matter what it is right now, I think it's like if one person that is alone, which you hear, I feel like a lot of people saying right now. But I mean, how many of us have taken action on that? You know what I mean? It's easier, like.
And that's
said
where
than
too.
done.
I'm also sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're fine.
That's where I'm fortunate too. I think is that like, a lot of times I really like being alone.
Yeah, me too.
Like I don't want to be by myself
No,
forever,
yeah.
like. But I'm just saying like.
That's the
so,
introvert
like,
to extrovert.
Yeah.
That's what I've seen all over
That's what I
IG.
said.
It's like, hey, introverts, check on your extrovert friends, because some of those people get their energy off of being out. Where obviously I think I play kind of like I'm almost like a 60-40 introvert, 40 extrovert. Like I like to get out and about, but I could also be alone for like 3 months. So
I'm right
like
with you.
yeah, so like it's different though for us, So
Yeah, and we're blessed with having such an awesome family, which I'm so thankful for that.
yeah.
I wish everybody could have the same, and for the people that don't, I will say too though, family is, I believe, kind of what you can make it to. I consider certain people that aren't necessarily like blood,
Yeah.
but there's family.
Yeah,
Like,
it
I'm
doesn't
sure
have to be
that's-
blood, yeah.
It's all about just creating those connections. We're getting like deep here.
Yeah, no, it's true though. It's true. It's creating those connections. It doesn't have to be blood. It doesn't have to be anything. I quick note, but I read something the other day about a little girl that had some two older people next door. She didn't have grandparents, and she was like, basically, in short, yo, you want to be my grandparents? And they became her grandparents for life. Like, random story, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, it doesn't have to be the blood. And if it is, awesome. And if it's not, it still matters just as much.
Yeah.
So,
Real talk. Real talk.
yeah.
I guess the thing is connection at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm seeking to do with this podcast, with all the videos I make. And like, you did a great job, and I'll give you props again on
Thank
on your
you.
first YouTube video.
Thank
For real,
you.
because it's not easy. But when you make it look easy, it seems easy. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
all in a day's work.
Yeah. No, and it feels good for sure. And something that I think I've realized, like, that I've been wanting to let out and to be able to give that content to help people, just coming from a real sense of myself, I think is super
And like, once again, it sounds cheesy, but like, helping people helps you. Or,
yeah.
You
For sure. Yeah. Definitely.
First of all, it's the best feeling ever.
That's why so many people want to do it.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, I want to help everybody. It's like, yeah. And like, that's something that actually someone brought up to me at one point, because she knew I'd been studying psychology for a while. And she's like, so am I narcissistic for wanting to help people simply to help myself? And I was like,
Maybe.
let me get back to you on that one. But keep helping people,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So, and it does. It goes full circle, and that's the beautiful part about it. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's been a real podcast. Ella.
Yeah, for real.
Anything let's do a little more plugs. Check out Positive Mind Emily.
Oh, yeah. Positive, mind, Emily.
See,
Good.
thank you for doing that,
Yeah.
because I'll say stuff and it needs to be exact.
Yeah, no, that's the first time I've actually made it exact. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So check that out.
IG. Yeah.
And on the IG you currently have some like cool poetry.
Yeah,
Some
right
inspirational.
now it's poetry, like all my own poetry mixed with some like overlaying art on that poetry. But I'm about to start incorporating now this YouTube channel that I'm about to start, that I just filmed here with the bro. So
Hell yeah,
there's
yeah.
some cool content to come. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, we were breaking it down last night. Like I was saying, we got list.
Yeah,
So you got
spider webs on spider webs,
For
baby.
real.
Yeah.
And now you know what it's time to do?
What,
Go burn one down.
dude? Let's go burn it to the ground.
Let's burn it down.
Yeah.
You out there do the same, and thank you for tuning in once again,
Yeah.
hanging out. I hope this found you well, And last but not least, thank you to my friends at T-Check. It can be like your go-to like device. It's mine right now. I've barely been getting into it to test, like I said, your coconut oils, your butter, your alcohol tinctures, and it has the expansion kit to test your flower, which I think is really cool, especially if you're a grower and even if you're not and you're getting a bag.
Make sure you're getting what you want to
So be like, oh, this is some really good shit. Like, actually, I tested it and it's not that
Yeah.
good. So give me
What is
$20.
it? It's T-Check, you said?
Yeah, T-Check.
Yeah, thank you, T-Check, for T-checking that.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Check your sale.
Yeah.
For real. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
We'll catch you on the next one, or I will, and we'll have Emily back.
Yeah,
And,
thanks for having me. It
hell
was
yeah,
so
yeah.
good chat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
happy to be down in Florida, and I'll do some cool content
Yeah.
down there.
Talk to you soon, guys.
All right, peace.
Bye.
This is True Buds, that Mary Jane. Now we ain't new to this. For my stoners and for my cannabis enthusiasts, never heard a show as good as this. Yeah, number one, it's the best. Bringing in many special guests in the industry of cannabis. Business owners to growers, even artists you know of. So sit back and just roll up the perfect show for my smokers. True Buds.